welcome back. It's been a while, but I am here and I am ready to show you something this morning. I haven't filmed anything for a while. I've just been waiting for the right opportunity to show you something different and hopefully interesting. This morning I'm here at Manamaneng and I've just completed my medevac flight, so I'm empty, heading back to Maseru, and I wanted to take the opportunity to demonstrate a max performance takeoff. Now, sometimes this is called a short field takeoff. Basically, it's when we have a takeoff situation that requires the best possible climb performance in the shortest possible distance. So usually you'll use this if you have an obstacle at the end of the runway or something you need to clear. We might also often use it with a tailwind takeoff. It helps to get the aircraft a little bit away from the ground in a shorter amount of distance. And sometimes it can be useful for that. We don't always use it because it is not as efficient as a regular takeoff, meaning we don't get altitude as quickly in the shortest amount of time, but we do get it in the shortest amount of distance. And so it comes into play when we have an obstacle. In Lesotho, we don't often have a typical obstacle like a tree or something at the end of the runway, but we do have a lot of ridges just a little bit on the upwind side of our takeoffs. So if we're heavy or the wind is not favorable, we may use this max performance takeoff to make sure that we get good altitude before reaching that physical position on the upwind path. So because we're on a gravel strip, it is nice and grassy here, but there's still some loose stones. We are not going to apply full power against the brakes, which is typical of a normal takeoff like this. So we're just going to apply power fairly quickly but smoothly. We've got 20 degrees of flap set, which is normal. What I'm going to be doing is leaving the aircraft on the ground just a little bit longer, up until about 55 knots. Then a nice positive rotate, and I'm going to, as quick as possible, get my speed to 68, which is my VX20 speed. That means my best angle of climb with 20 degrees of flaps. So I'll demonstrate that and then talk a bit about it as we get moving. So I'm telling my flight follower that I'm ready to go with the mark button on my V2 system. Going back to Maseru 0820 is takeoff time. My abort point at this runway will be the second marker. I will abort if I don't get a good power check or a speed check by the second marker. Airborne past the abort point with an engine failure, 6Gs, gliding at 65. Grass will be a right-hand turn, landing up the hill into some of these fields that we have as options to the right. Then gas, yellow pump will go on. Change tanks, red pump if it takes, continue to climb to a safe altitude. If not, gab, mayday, mayday, mayday. Before landing, guts, selector off, flaps is required, master off before touchdown, and get out. Okay, we are ready to go. Cameras are on and demonstrating a max performance takeoff here at Manamaneng. So I'm applying my power, not holding the brakes, but applying power smoothly, getting rolling before I go max power. There we've got max power, power check. Keeping the aircraft on the ground just a little bit longer. Speed check. Continue, 55. We rotate, we get it to, let it accelerate to 68. There we go, 68. Look at that altitude gain in such a short distance. I'm way above that ridge in the distance there. And something important I want to demonstrate to you shortly. So we're still at 68. And now as we want to transition to our flaps, or to taking our flaps away and get into VY speed, we're going to hold this attitude. Just take the flaps away. We can do it all at once, that's no problem. Hold that attitude, and we can pretty much be guaranteed maintaining that attitude. As the flaps drop, we'll be at our VY speed, 88. I'm a little bit less than that today because I'm light, but there we go. Alright, we're well clear of that obstacle. It was easy today with not much weight. Let's run through our after takeoff checks. So coming back on the power. That's another thing while I'm talking about this. I've got max power now. So some people rush to bring the power back and to get below your max continuous or your max your max power. But we've got 5 minutes, so we don't need to rush. Make sure we've got a good field option to go for. Make sure we've got a good amount of altitude. I've got some fields below me to the left, so before I'm going to touch my power, I'm making sure I know where I'm going, and then I can reduce my power, get my pitch set, get my fuel flow set, then I can start tinkering with the engine, making sure it's set now for max continuous. And obviously max continuous I can leave for my climb all the way up. So I've got my cowl flaps open, power set, mixture is set, flaps are up, engine instruments checked, nav instruments checked, performance instruments checked, checking my fuel caps, and my passengers not applicable, radio call. I'm given a green button on the V2 system to say that the takeoff is safe and everything is good there. So a couple of things that are important there. That takeoff, like I said, it's used for obstacle clearance, or if we have a ridge, or if we just are concerned about getting off of our airstrip due to specific wind conditions or weight or temperatures or something like that. It can be a useful tool to have. We leave the aircraft on the ground a little longer, positive rotate, get to our VX 20 speed, allow the aircraft to climb at that really steep angle. Once we're clear of our obstacles, once we feel like we're high enough, dump the flaps all the way. No need to do that in stages, especially with this aircraft with all the power that we've got. And just hold that attitude, just let the aircraft accelerate all the way up to VY, then continue your climb. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope that that was interesting and fun, and I had fun explaining it. Hopefully there's a couple things there that you can use as you fly, or if you're just interested, that go ahead and ask questions below if some of those terms don't mean too much to you. I'd be happy to explain that. I really enjoy doing these kind of videos. I would love any requests or questions that you guys might have. I have a fun time kind of explaining some of the techniques and things we use, so if you have any requests for videos, I'd love to try and find the opportunity to look into those. And that's it for now. Cheers.